Welcome to Sir Lancelot's Real Estate Roundtable, your guide to mastering the realm of real estate in Central East Florida. I am Sir Lancelot Leonard, ready to uncover the secrets of seller strategies, home staging, mortgage mastery, and more. From Daytona Beach to Cocoa Beach, Lake County to St. Augustine, join me as we navigate the intricacies of real estate. As the leader of the Sir Lancelot Group at Florida Homes Realty and Mortgage, I'm here to arm you with knowledge and innovation, whether you're a seasoned homeowner or a first-time buyer, unveiling the kingdom of real estate, one roundtable at a time. Welcome, Malcolm, to the pod.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That's an awesome introduction, man. I'm fired up.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Hey, buddy, take me back, okay, to your time in the apparel industry. What first sparked your interest in design and marketing?
I was going back even further. I was in public book publishing first. I've only had two real jobs out of college. I went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, and I studied graphic design and art direction, and graduated and became a associate art director for a publishing company. And then after several years there, I went into fashion design, and that was awesome. It paid 3 times as much money. It was more exciting. It was great. It was a little vapid, a little like a lot of, what are we doing? But it was so lucrative and so much fun. I traveled the country marketing brands and creating, it was early internet. So we're doing a lot of early e-com experimentation. And it was so cool. Worked with Norma Kamali, worked with Fubu, worked with Sean John. I did not go to a white party. I did not go. I actually have a really crazy story about interviewing with him, but we can get to that later. But so I loved fashion design, and I love, to be honest with you, my business has evolved to where real estate as lifestyle. So it's all like art and graphics and fashion and all how all those things intermingle into my development style when I do real estate.
So were there elements, what were those elements that you found directly applicable when you transitioned over to real estate from your previous career?
Almost everything. I tell people that all the time because I have people that are still in the traditional media, and they're like, why did you go into the real estate? It's not even the same thing, but it's all the same. What I do, I'm a marketer. I package, I market, and I bring to the public, right? And it's all about the product. So whether I'm doing publishing, which was my first love in this business, whether it's fashion design and branding, or whether it's real estate, you try to determine who your consumer is. You learn your product, you package it properly, you have clear, concise messaging. It's all the same thing. And that's why the transition was so easy. In fact, for me, for many years, there was overlap. I didn't really, like I was always full-time. I did full-time graphic design and full-time real estate. But the real crossover is when the pandemic hit and you had to make a decision. They downsized some people. I was furloughed, and then my wife was like laid off the day right after I was furloughed. So we had to make big life decisions. Yeah. And so then I started doing it full time, but we were always investing. We were always on property. We had multiple rentals. And so it was just an easy transition for me.
That's awesome. You spoke a little bit about touching on packaging and finding. So as in, a lot of people don't get this part, but an avatar is so important to find that avatar for your product and then aim it at that avatar, or find your avatar in real estate, as in, who do you like to work with? Really? Do you like to work with everybody? No, not really. You don't like everybody. So you find that person that you would be like, okay, I'll go over fire and ice just to get you what you need, and then find that avatar and work with that. I think that's a great compliment to the business. And yeah.
You said something that it was just so critical, because all of us, the technology has commoditized everything. If you need a market, if I need a market report for Florida where you are, I can get that. So it's not really about that. We all have access to that. The real the differentiation is your customer service, your acumen, how you're taking in all the information, processing it, and then giving it to the person in the way that they can perceive it. And so that's what my blessing is. And I have all these different, really unique aspects to my background. And so you find a connection point. Like sometimes people work with me because I was named after Malcolm X and I have sensitivities in that space. Some people work with me. I was a Marine Corps veteran and a Gulf War vet. So people want to work with veterans. So you connect on that point. Some people love my history in fashion design. And they talk about that. And how was it when you met Puffy? How was it when you met Damon John? How was it when you met all these powerful, rich, influential people? And you find a connection point and then you exploit that. And that's how I get a lot of my business.
That is awesome. Yeah, yeah. So New York, especially Brooklyn, is known for its unique, fast-moving market. When you first started, what challenges did you encounter, and how did your background in apparel world give you an edge in these?
That's a great question. The biggest thing in New York is how competitive it is. It's so super, super competitive. And as you well know, back in the old days, the barrier to entry for you to become a real estate professional was so easy. I think it was like 20 hours and high school diploma in 20 hours, and you got into business. Now they're actually, I've been told that they're working on increasing the barrier to entry. So it's 80 hours now, and there's other criteria that's required in order for you to get in. I believe it's 80 hours. I'm not sure.
I had 72, I think,
Yeah,
school, and they had to pass a school, and then you have to pass a state exam.
exactly.
Still high school diploma only. It was, I passed everything on the first try, but a lot of people still 5, 10 tries in still can't get it. I'm like, it's not a light read book. Like you can see the
Right.
ones behind it. It's a thick book and you have to learn it. It's not like an open book. But yes, I do agree with you. I think it's still a little light because you are dealing with people's biggest investments in
Right.
most cases. It should be a little more stringent on getting
I think
your
it'll
license.
evolve to that too. I think it'll evolve that way. So to answer your question, the biggest issue was just how competitive it is. And
Yeah,
everybody had a license. Half the people had licenses that went defunct because they didn't want to pay all the fees to keep the license. So you're competing with everybody, especially when the medium transaction is $500,000, $600,000.
for
I mean,
sure.
every transaction is a decent amount of money. And I'm doing transaction now. They're 2 million, 3 million. The one that we were talking about earlier that I'm hoping to get in Park Slope with the connection to Florida, that's 7 million. So you get these transactions, and you're competing with Sirhan, and you're competing with Corcoran, and all these big brands. And so it's about your competence, it's about your affluence. I also have your sphere of influence is really important, and so sometimes you have to flaunt, not to brag, and it's not a brag now because of everything that's going on, but. My cousin happens to be the mayor of New York City. He's my first cousin, Eric Adams.
Are you kidding me?
And he's the pride of the family. Now he's going through a whole bunch of shit.
Oh, he's getting it. Definitely getting it.
Hey, right. And he probably sitting upset when he had some pointed criticism of President Biden. So I'm sure all of that's related. But even in those circles, I was part of his fundraising and all this other stuff. Even in those circles, all the consumers are there. There's social validation just by proximity.
Correct.
And there are people that want to be in that proximity. So that at least gives me the conversation. And then after I have the conversation, then I'm able to differentiate myself. My policies aren't the same as his. You know what I'm saying? We think differently, but I love them. And we have the leadership. You have to be a good marketer to become mayor of a major city.
Definitely.
So all of that stuff is in the DNA.
I guess so. I think it's inherited for sure.
Yeah, it's all in the DNA. My grandfather was incredible. Couldn't read or write, had a third grade education, was able to amass 150 acres of land in Alabama. So anytime you get discouraged or city, everything's bogging you down, you're like, nah, man, if this old dude can get out there, he was farming that land. We still to this day, we have cows and chickens. And I was just down there a month ago. So
Nice.
no, nothing can discourage me. All I do, I have his driver's license, right? This is the most prized possession. On his driver's license, it just has an X. And then it has the signature of somebody that I don't know. Right? Like
Wow.
that guy. It turns out, and I didn't know this at the time, that he couldn't read or write. And the X is his mark, and the signature is the witness to his X.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that,
Okay.
think about that.
Oh,
And this dude worked his ass off. He has 17 kids.
wow.
Same mom, same dad, no twins. 150. You need that many kids to work 150 acres of land, right?
Yeah, you
And
do.
and he was the most honorable, hardworking, incredible person I know, and super simple. And so nothing discourages me. All I do is look at his driver's license. I look at his weathered face from working in the fields his entire life. I'm like, nah, there's nothing you can tell me that hurt me. I'm invincible. Let's go.
Exactly. And that's the right thing to say and think. And then I always say that to my friends is like the opportunities out there. You just need to know how to pick it up and work it. And
Yeah.
if you put your efforts into it and your persistence, you can get it. It doesn't matter what it is. As you said, your cousin's a mayor, but you're killing it in real estate. You did great in the design. Come on. I'm also one of those. I came here with $300 in my pocket 10 years ago, 11 years ago to the
From where? From
States,
where?
from Hungary, Budapest, Hungary.
Wow, I love it. I want
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
to
yeah. And
Budapest.
I sold probably around 80 million or so far in real estate. So I'm up there with you. We're in boom, boom, killing it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's a possibility. You just have to build it up and you have to be going at it and going at it and going at it. Don't
And
get
always learning. That's what's so great about this business. It forces us. We have to continue to learn. We have to continue to educate ourselves. You had said something earlier off camera when we were talking about getting our education. I actually went to, there's easy ways of getting your license, obviously. Now you can do it online. But I actually went to the NYU Business School to get my license. And
nice.
just like you had to do it, you couldn't even take the Department of State's test until you passed the NYU's Business School test. But by the time we got a Department of State, it was nothing for us. It was like 98% because
Yeah.
it was so stringent through the business school.
Yeah.
And that was so cool. In fact, I'm hoping to go back to NYU to get my master's in business because I want to do big developments eventually. So I just think that credential would help me with fundraising.
That is, you just gave me some goosebumps, by the way, because I'm working on my GC license about same thing. Like I have these books all over me right here. You can't see them, but there's everywhere. I've been highlighting for like weeks now.
I love it because the education is ongoing, and that's what's really great. It forces us. We have to take the classes in order to renew our licenses. So it's forcing us to always do these CE classes. We're always learning. And what's great is it's not always the pressure of the grade. It's just the pressure of having to do it under this time frame in order to renew.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. It keeps us learning and keeps us active.
Learning also, a lot of people don't understand. It's not just your physical fitness, it's your mental fitness. When you're studying and learning, you keep on working those brain, it keeps moving and thinking. You need to do that to keep fresh and on point every single time. When you're negotiating a $7, $8, $10 million deal,
Yep.
my friend, you got to be up there, right,
Yep.
ready for anything that could come your way. I'm like, oh,
Man,
quick.
I gotta save the deal. I gotta save the deal. What creative financing we can do? What creative? Listen,
Creative,
I
yeah.
a point off my commission. Whatever the hell we need to do, let's close the deal. That's what it takes. Agility, mental agility is what you're referring to.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
what we're paid for in order to negotiate these deals. And we have years and years of experience, all the ways that it can work.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing. And another thing I want to make sure I point out because this is so important. You just said it. What I love about this business is it's the true American melting pot. I fought for this country, man. I'm a veteran of the Gulf War. My brother and I were in Saudi Arabia together in the same battalion. And I know that we're not perfect. We're a work in progress. It's all jacked up in a lot of ways. I don't like what's going on in the Middle East, but I know that we're working on something beautiful and special, and it's evident by people like you. So many new Americans are in this business and succeeding, while the rest people who've been here for generations are like sitting on the sideline. You're here buying property, first generation American. That's the spirit that I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So I love that, man. That's very inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you. You have an insider view of the Brooklyn market. And what trends are you seeing post pandemic that new agents or investors should pay attention to?
This is really
we
crazy.
talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, but everybody's still the brownstone market is hot. Like everybody's buying brownstones. I own several myself. It's a sexy, beautiful property, holds value really well, rents super easy and fast. And a lot of my guys are staying under in New York City, five units or more as commercial. So if you stay at 4 units, you can get the benefit of a commercial building without the regulation of a commercial building. And so what that allows you to do is to keep all the properties market level, as opposed to sometimes when you get the higher units, you end up having to do some affordable housing, which I think is important and you need to do. And I have a whole other plan for that. But some owners don't want that business. They want to stay market value. They want to stay premium. They want $4,000 or $5,000 a month for the rent. And so you get 4 there. So I see a lot of them, 4 units are lower. And brownstones are hot. North Brooklyn, so that's like Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy, Williamsburg, where my office is now, downtown Brooklyn, the Gowanus, those areas. And but even South Brooklyn, because we have beaches. A lot of people don't know that we have beaches in Brooklyn. And you go
that's cool.
yeah, Coney Island is the beach.
Oh yeah.
Coney Island's the beach, and there are other elements that are around the beach, and that area is getting super hot. Where we're thinking about gambling institutions there, along with the amusement parks and stuff that are there. So it's a hot market, man. And what I love about, because you're in Florida, the reciprocity, the back and forth. There's
Yeah.
so many people that are snowbirds. They're in their 60s and 70s, and they go to Florida when it's warm, and they come back to New York when for the culture and the restaurants and everything when it's warm up here. And so there's a lot of back and forth with Florida and New York.
We got Margaritaville in our neighborhood, like literally 10 minutes from here. A lot of 55 plus. It's a 55 plus community, so retirees, they can always come down and enjoy a little Margaritaville in the winters when it's harsh over there. Another thing about the 4 units, a lot of people don't know that, but a 4 unit does not require a commercial loan. A 4 unit,
Right.
you can get a conventional or FHA, or even
Right.
you could move into one if you're just a starting investor and you're like, hey, how am I going to get started? Get a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, move into one, get an FHA, 3.5% down, and boom, there you go. Renovate and refinance after a year, and you got a good property, a solid property that's making you income, paying your mortgage, and probably a little bit on top. So that's a good way to start for
Absolutely.
beginner
And it's so
investors.
brilliant that you picked. That's exactly what we did. The brilliance of how you laid that out is exactly what my wife and I did. The very first purchase was a 4-family brownstone. She and I, with my family, we bought a 2-family that was separately, but with my wife, it's a 4-family brownstone. We lived in one unit that we did not renovate. We lived in the disrepair while we renovated the other 3, and the tenants lived in the other 3. We lived on the ground floor unit, and we recovered from the transaction. It was everything we had on earth. It was like the down payment was like $35,000. It was every bit of money that we had on planet Earth to make that transaction happen. We're crying and shit. We had no money for renovation. It was like it was crazy.
It's
And
a stressful time, I'm sure, but
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it
And it was
reaped
the
the
best decision
rewards.
we ever made. Best decision we ever made. We bought the first house for about 350. You can't believe you can't
No
buy it.
way. In New
Yes,
York,
sir. Yes, sir.
a
350.
4 unit for 350.
4-unit building. So yeah, but we had to
Probably
pull
like a
out a
million
lot of
two right
equity.
now.
Huh?
Probably a
It's about
million
two.
two.
No, yeah, more than that. 2.25. We just did 2.5. And our interest rates are crazy. Our interest rates are 3.25.
No way. You're not
Yes, sir.
refinancing that. It's
Yeah.
like, that's good.
Never
High
touch.
limit, don't touch.
Yeah. We get a line of credit against the equity to do other things, but we don't mess with the principal mortgage.
Yeah.
And now that rent unit is rented out. It's 4 units in it. And then we bought the house next door, which was another brownstone with the same footprint, but it was a 3-family. So we duplex the bottom floors. I have 2 sons. My wife and I have 2 sons. So we live in that one and we rent the other 2. And then we're looking to buy another one this year. So our plan is to buy and hold over time, buy right, long term, pay down the notes. And I hope to do bigger deals where I'm able to pay down the notes in chunks. So we're not waiting to 30 years to pay down the note.
It depends
And
on what the interest rate is. If you got a 3.25 interest rate and inflation's 4 or 5%, you are golden.
it's
They're,
golden.
they're making money on paying their note, basically. It's
Exactly. It's
lower than
golden.
inflation.
Yeah, and so so that's our plan. We're gonna be doing I'll probably do some flips in the near future too. I have a partner in Pennsylvania, which is a good market, good acquisition prices, so you can buy for 100, 150, 200, and then
Nice.
flip it out. And Alabama too, which you would not believe is it's a hot market right now because you can buy acreage cheap at now, and they have all of these businesses coming in. They have automotive
Yeah.
manufacturing in Alabama, and there's a big communication hub that's happening in Alabama because
Nice.
it's the crossroads of all of the eastern seaboard communication. It's the hub of that. And the weather is a little bit more predictable than Florida. Florida,
A little bit.
that freaking peninsula goes out there. It just captures all the freaking storms.
For us, it's Miami's becoming one of those hubs for really
Yeah.
wealthy individuals. It's like the next Wall Street, basically. We got a lot of Wall Street companies that moved down to Miami. We got a lot of South American companies that are coming up to Miami, and then we got blockchain, and I just interviewed someone about the blockchain and cryptocurrency. It's becoming that hub for it. You could Even the mayor of Miami bought his house with cryptocurrency,
It's
Bitcoin.
incredible. I'm
Like,
super into that. I'm super.
so just so you know,
Yeah.
you could watch the pod. I think it's going to come out next week or the week after. I interviewed the vice president of got the name of the company, but they're like the forefront for cryptocurrency purchases. He said I could do a transaction in one day with
Right.
everything included, but literally, so your transaction, they are title and they do everything in house, and they could do a transaction in one day. It's insane.
You
Think
have to
about,
send me that. You have to send me that.
I'll email you all the info on that.
That's the evolution of my business.
Yeah,
There's other ways of using crypto with real estate. There's tokenization of real estate where you buy the property with crypto and then you can fractionalize the crypto so you can own fractional ownership of real property. And it securitizes crypto as well. If you use the crypto, I had one of my clients buy one of our properties with crypto money. He had it converted into cash, right? Which makes the transaction more expensive because there's a fee for conversion into fiat currency. But if you do it right, you can do it straight, cleaner, with less friction, and then you can fractionalize. You can sell fractions of it and have people own 2 weeks in February, 2 weeks in March. You can tokenize it. It's the possibilities are endless. And so I want to know who that person is. I'd love to,
his name is Eric Cruz, and he is the SVP of sales at Proppy. So if you put proppy.com in, you could find all the information on that. I just looked it up quickly while we were chatting
Yeah,
here.
you're gonna email that to me. I don't want to.
I'll email it to you as well. But
Yeah,
yeah, proppy.com. And that's for every agent out there, by the way, proppy.com is if you're in New York, you're in Miami, and you have a lot of crypto people that are, hey, I have like a bunch of Bitcoin and I have this and that. And what do you want to do with it? And just holding it, you could buy property with it. And through proppy.com, it's pretty cool.
that's exactly it. We want diversification. Crypto is an incredible sector. It's going to be really big in real estate, along with the blockchain and ways of managing our document flow and securitizing the document flow. I have a client right now that we are scrambling trying to find where the will is so that we can convey the property.
Blockchain. There's
Yeah,
your solution for all of
that's
that
exactly.
stuff, my friend. And that's what Eric was talking on the podcast is like, if you could put all the deeds on blockchain, you don't have to
Right.
pay title insurance anymore because you have everything secured there.
Chain of title. Chain of
Yep.
title.
Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
We're still going to need insurance, I think, especially since the conversion to it all is going to take years.
He's
Yeah,
basically saying that if when we get to the point where all the properties have been uploaded into
right.
blockchain from the past 100 years, it's going to look different. You're going to save some money for the client because they were like, look, we don't really need this
Right.
$4,000, $5,000 insurance on a property because you can save that because it's all here in the blockchain. Maybe you'll get a small insurance for any liens or anything like that.
Yeah, omits or errors or something like that. So maybe
Yes.
there's still going to be a place for insurance.
Yeah.
Because I've been researching this. You tapped into a passion of mine. I'm like crazy. It comes up. We're gonna be able to get the windfall because it's right there.
Yeah.
But crypto is going to be big. Blockchain and document management is going to be huge, and all of this is part of our business now.
If you wanna, I think November 7th and 8th, they're doing a summit down in Miami. Proppy's doing a summit. You could take a peek at it online, probably. Maybe you want to fly down there and meet everybody that's like-minded that's doing this stuff already. You in New York, you guys, everybody in a big city. Like I'm in a small town, Port Orange. There's not a lot of crypto stuff going around here, but if you're in a major city, New York, Orlando, Jacksonville, LA, Miami, you guys going to be the torchbearers for this because you guys have all the people that are doing that stuff.
Absolutely. And I've heard great things about Florida. I know Florida's business environment is so open and the tax structures that's why all the companies are flying down there.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's maintained. I would like for Florida, as a side note, just to be more mindful. Obviously, you're bearing the brunt of all the storms. So we know that the global warming is real. So if we can have some middle ground on those solutions, it can be a flag bearer for this technology going forward and for the business sector and as a whole.
For sure. So you build an impressive sales record out of the over 50 million in deals. Is there any one that particularly stands out for you that was a turning point in your personal milestone or career?
The biggest one, we mentioned it earlier. I have a sphere of influence, and one of the places where I get most of my deals is from my sphere of influence. I'm always out. I'm always networking. I'm always volunteering. I was just on a panel where we are teaching kids about financial literacy, underprivileged kids, financial literacy. So at the Metropolitan Museum, there's an amphitheater there. We had 300 kids, and I was sitting on a panel explaining like 101, this is an asset, this is a liability, don't make babies, you don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like just like really. So when you do that kind of stuff, that sphere of influence is where all the deals come from. Ebro who's a big time media guy, big time radio personality here in New York. He was at this event. He was one of the panelists. And so and that clout gives you a lot of legitimacy too. So it helps you generate deals just because of that. So because of all of that activity, one of my friends whom I've done hundreds of millions of dollars worth of deals with, they recommended me as a buyer representative to this international buyer. He was from Canada. He was looking for, they have some sort of luxury thing that's Airbnb, but not luxury membership only type of deal. And they were looking for a new space, a flagship space in New York City.
Nice.
And I found it, this incredible hotel, petite hotel in Chelsea, New York City. The house used to be the headquarters of the gay men's health crisis in New York City. So it's a historical home, has a plaque on it. And that provenance was one of the reasons we were attracted to it. Not that the business has anything to do with that specifically. They just loved the fact that it was a historical house, and their clientele would really respond to that. And that ended up being a $9 million sale. And that's my biggest sale so far. It was life-changing.
That is definitely 9 million is not a small deal. Even though in New York, it's a little different with commissions and stuff. Like Florida, you get your 3 or around there, whatever it's negotiated. But around there, you guys do a 2 or average on 2 or something like that, correct?
You and I don't want to break the law, right?
No, we're not. It's just like an averaging. Like it's a little different in New York because for us, you guys are an attorney state number one. So you basically find a property and then hand it over to the attorneys and they take care of the rest, correct?
I generate the deal sheet, which is the big strokes of what the terms are, and then the attorney interprets that and puts it into the contract.
Okay.
The small deals are generally 6%. So anything under $1 million, 6% split 50-50 with a buyer listing agent.
Yeah.
And then over $1 million is 5%. When they get the big luxury numbers like 5, 10 million, 20 million, then it's generally 4%. That particular $9 million deal was 4%. It was 2 and 2 split. It was a great day.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
So we're working on others now. We got another one, $7 million deal we're working on. I was telling you about this one earlier too. Just pray for me. I haven't signed paperwork yet, so I don't want to jinx it. And it has a Florida link, has a Florida connection.
Yeah.
So that's why I got a good feeling about this.
It's going to be fun.
Left New York and moved to Florida. He's retiring, and they're getting rid of their assets, and that's the reason that the property is even available to me. So we'll see what happens.
I think you're going to get that. Nail it. Brooklyn is a hot market, but it can be tricky too, correct? Yeah. What's the biggest misconception people have about the area, and how do you help clients navigate that?
A lot of times, first of all, everything is very secure, especially in North Brooklyn. Sometimes you hear about crime and stuff on TV, and it helps to formulate your opinion about what's happening in New York and what's happening in Brooklyn in particular. But there's 9 million, 10 million people, right?
It's a lot of people get to that.
Yeah. So 2 or 3, or you get a couple of nutcases, you get a couple of crazy things happening just by the sheer number. That's why that happens. But for the most part, it's secure. It holds investment value very well, because I've done markets where you put in 500,000 and you come back and it's worth 500,000. You made no money, because with inflation, you make no money if you don't have any appreciation. And so you're always going to get appreciation here. And you're always going to have an active market. If you have something, you price it, it's going to sell or it's going to rent. So that's the real important thing. If you want to have something with long-term, that's why everybody has investments here. So that's the most important thing, and that is very secure, and it's a great place. People visit here. Our tourism is one of our biggest industries here. I know everybody loves the beaches down there, but our culture is beyond compare. I'm a big culture guy. I love plays. I love museums. I take my kids to those things all the time. We have lots of great beaches here. They're not as great as Miami. We can't compete there, but they're good, and they're local. You don't have to fly.
Water's cold.
That's true. So yeah, it's secure, and both financially and in terms of crime and stuff like that.
It's great to talk to someone from New York that is in the biz. We don't really get to communicate for this distance that much. Maybe a phone call. Hey, I have a referral. Would you take it? Yeah, sure. And I pay a referral fee. Thanks. Bye. And that's pretty much most of the conversations we have. Right. It's like, it's 2 totally different worlds. Sunshine, beach. In my opinion, New York's I love big cities. I come from a big city. I come from a metropolitan city, which is Budapest. I know it's not as many people, but 2 million people is still a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's been around for, I don't know, like 700, 800 years. So
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. That you have long history. Like
yes,
we're only
exactly.
like what America's 250 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But New York always fascinated me about this culture and everything because since I was a kid, I used to go to plays, opera, and all those things because Budapest had all those to go to and
Right,
daily shows or whatever.
right,
But Miami has it too, but it becomes such an expensive. It's not just like having a dinner out. It's $500 for two people to go on a
right,
play
right.
at the Adrian Arch Center down in Miami. So it becomes a little different. In Hungary, it was like I think when I was a kid, it cost us maybe $10 to get into a play, and
Right,
we were going constantly because it was like I had seen plays 5 times because it
right,
was so interesting.
right. And it's a different play. It's a different if you go to the same play on a different night, it's a different experience. The crowd reactions are different.
Yeah,
They might have an understudy for that part, so that interpretation is different. So I love all of that. I love the food. Miami has great food too, incredible, and your proximity to the Cuba and all these other great cuisines. But there's no place like New York. You literally can eat at a different restaurant every day for the rest of your life. You just eat different places.
thinking
And
about the food in New York, that clip out of what was it, The Avengers is, hey, let's go have a shawarma. What's a shawarma? Let's just go have a
right,
shawarma. It's like you're like in New York City. It's let's go have a shawarma. It's like what is that thing? But I
right.
don't know. But let's have it because we could get it in New York.
I don't know what
Pretty
it is
much.
either, but I
But
think
you
it's
can get one.
you can get
You
one. And I just love that. And I'm not even crazy foodie. Like I'm super like American food, Italian, Mexican. I'm not crazy food. My wife's crazy. Let's eat Japanese. I'm like, oh my God. But I love the options and I'll go and I'll try and the best sushi, the best outside of Japan or whatever. But it's the best everything. And everybody's here. You can hear 10 different languages as you walk the street. That right there is the superpower of this country. It is the
yeah.
superpower that if you can find a way for everybody to be represented and everybody to be respected and everybody hold on to their culture and mix it with your culture. Next thing we're going to be a bunch of beautiful babies with beautiful hair and eyes and speaking 4 different languages. That's our superpower. If we can really internalize it. Like it's in the Constitution, it's in our founding documents. I don't think we always live up to that,
Yeah.
but that's where our strengths are. That's where our strengths are. If we can find a way to tap into all of this tapestry of beautiful cultures, and it's everywhere. If you go into California, it's happening in Texas. Texas is getting a lot of people because everybody's leaving California because of the taxes and everything. It's happening in Chicago, if you've ever been there. It's just all these different people with these great languages and these great interpretations of life, and you can learn, and it makes America better.
So getting back to real estate a little bit, question, what would your advice be to a new agent that would be looking to enter into real estate space? And what would be the most valuable thing that they could hear right now in these competitive markets that we're having?
I think that you have to get with a team. It's really hard if you have zero experience to do it on your own. And when you get with a team, that means you're going to have to split your commission. That means you're going to be doing a lot of the not so fun work and open houses and showings and so forth. But that's the only way you're going to learn. This is a hands-on learning business. I've been in the business 20 years. I'm doing 2 open houses, one Friday, one Saturday. I still do open houses. You have to interface with clients. You have to learn to talk to clients, even when they're hostile, even when they're not talkative. You have to keep learning. And the only way to do that, get on a team with somebody that you respect and that you just learn from them and take whatever they give you, take the crumbs and learn the business. The second thing is, and this is super important too, is I don't care what anybody tells you, very few super successful agents do it part-time. They just
Exactly.
because you and I are in the field killing what we eat every
Right.
day. So you can't have a part-time job and then call clients during lunch and meet and have a friend. You can't do that. You have to be in it. So maybe at the beginning, as you transition, you'll do 2 jobs like I did, but eventually you have to cut the cord away from regular 9 to 5 paycheck job, and you have to get 100% immersed in this business. It's the only way to be successful.
That's great advice. That is great advice. I like the team idea because you could start on a team as a part-time agent, making phone calls, being an inside sales agent,
Yeah,
banging it out, feeding the team with leads, And then when you have reached a certain point where like, okay, now we're like compensated about equally compared to my regular job. Now I can bounce off my regular job, go full time, and then you see how you excel in the business. Oh,
Exactly.
wow, now I have 8 hours to do this. This is insane.
Exactly.
Or
And even longer
16.
than that.
Or yeah,
Longer than
exactly.
that. Because I'm in bed texting, I'm doing everything.
Yeah, you're like we wake up first thing on the you go to the bathroom, you're looking at your phone, you're like reading through your emails, and then next
Exactly.
thing you're like writing an email 5 minutes later in front of your computer or whatever, and you're like, oh, the day hasn't even started. You didn't even open your eyes, but you're already doing something
Already doing
that's
something.
related to your
Somebody's
business.
already, already. And one of the things I tell new agents to do all the time is go to open houses religiously.
In the market.
Yeah, learn the market, whether it's your open houses or somebody else's open houses. Do as many open houses as you can. But if for some reason this weekend you're not doing any, you go to one or two of them. You create content, you put that content on social media. I got a quick story to tell you because I did this at a friend of mine had this gorgeous brownstone, and their model for flipping properties is they got them out of the stress. They would gut them out, but they wouldn't renovate. They would do renderings of the renovations, but they wouldn't renovate them. So they gut them out and they would sell them like that, which was incredible. So you can come in, the title's clear, the property's clear, and you can do your own thing on this renovation. So they made a little less on the return, but they didn't have as much risk because they didn't renovate the property. They didn't even hold it that long. So I went to support him in his open house. I created all this internet content. I look at this fireplace. We're doing goofy stuff and whatever. So I posted it. So I had a buyer client of mine, and this is in Bed-Stuy. This buyer client specifically asked me for Bushwick, which was a neighboring neighborhood, which is fine. That's where I grew up. It's not the neighborhood I would have wanted, but that's what she wanted. So I showed her all the properties there. She hated them all. So we took a break. So I posted this thing from in Bed-Stuy, this gorgeous property. She said, "What the hell's that? Why didn't you show me that?" And so she's flipping out and yelling at me, cursing. We're friends. So she was like cursing me out. And she was like, I said, "You didn't even want to live in Bed-Stuy." She said, "I want that property. Take that post down. I want that property." The guy's a friend of mine.
Take that post out.
He said, "Take the post down." The guy's a friend. And I got like 200 hits. So people were really responding to our banner.
Wow.
I took it down. But the guy's a friend of mine. He gave us a private showing. She buys the property.
Wow.
$1.5 million property off a post. And it wasn't my listing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to open houses, learning the market, learning agents. Because when you have personal relationships with agents, sometimes that's the difference. Everybody's offering 1.5. Who do I want to do business with? Who do I think is going to convert the
I know
deal?
Malcolm. I've met him. He's a good guy. He's going to make it happen. I know
Exactly.
that's the same everywhere. That's a really good advice for new agents is like make friends. This
Yeah.
is not about you coming out of high school and playing social media bandit.
Right.
You got to go out, shake hands, kiss babies or whatever, just to meet other agents that will know you. And
Yeah.
they rather
I
do
have
business with somebody you know than somebody don't know.
exactly. I'm out at every event. Like I
Yeah.
told you before, I do a lot of donations. My fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. It's one of the Divine Nine of Black fraternities and sororities in this country, and so I do my donations to them, and we donate time with them, and a lot of business comes out of that sphere of influence, and we help a lot of people. I network with that. My veterans business. You donate to the veterans. You make sure that you're there for them. You make sure you'll give them resources. Here's how I use my veterans loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you teaching them. I did it. I'm a veteran. I was able to use mine to pay 3.5% down or no down payment, which you can't do in New York, but like a low down payment, and they insure it so that you can get the loan. So I have all these sphere of influences. I'm always tapping into them. I'm always supporting their events, and all the business comes out of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So with so many hats, a broker, investor, property manager, how do you keep a steady balance? And looking forward, where do you see the Brooklyn market heading in the next 5 years?
The first thing, this is such a great question because there's a misconception. I don't care what anybody tells you. There was no balance. There's no
There's no
balance.
balance. No.
You want to be successful. There's no balance. There's no work-life balance, nothing, right? You just have to have a partner. My wife is awesome, and she's a professional as well. She's a fashion designer, and she's doing very well on her own. Our kids are older now, so it's easier. My oldest is in college. My youngest is a junior in high school, but there's no balance. If you want to be successful, you just have to determine what are you willing to do for it. And hopefully, as you get more successful and you get older, you'll get more and more balance. But for me, it's all day. Like I'm grinding all day, I'm texting all day, so there's no balance. It's just making sure that you have the right partners, make sure you're communicating with your kids and you're present. You do your best to be present all the time. I go to all the basketball. I'm that crazy parent. I'm at the game yelling, or my son's in a play. I'm that dude. I'm always there. But you have to do the business. My phone is always with me. I'll do showings in the middle of the night. If that's when you're available, it doesn't matter. So there's no balance.
A little bit about that sort of idea of balance or whatever we could call it. Go to the game, you're a realtor.
Yeah.
So you're handing out business cards at the game. You're at the game, cheering
Yes.
for your kid, doing the work-life balance,
Right.
and you're because you're working and you're balancing with your life at the same time.
Exactly.
It's just a hint for all of you agents. You are not to be a secret agent. You are supposed to
I
tell
love
everybody
that.
that you're an agent.
It'll come up,
Yeah.
especially with men, because the way that our identities are tied to what we do for a living.
Yes.
Sometimes women have a little bit more balance, not to be sexist, and I'm sure that this isn't for everyone, so this isn't a
Yeah.
blanket statement. I know for me that my identity is that I'm a real estate agent, I'm a broker, I'm a team lead. That's my identity. So the moment we start talking, I don't even have to bring it up. You're going to ask me, so what do you do?
Yeah. It's the first question.
That's the first
Who
question.
are
So,
you? I'm a
right,
realtor. That's the
right,
question. Who are you? No, I didn't ask what you do. I asked who you are.
right.
It's a big like philosophical thing because here in the States, it's always first thing is what you do is it's basically everybody identifies as what they do is who
Right.
they are. So if you're a realtor, I'm a realtor. So
That's
no, I'm
it.
Lancelot Leonard. I am
Right.
a husband. I am a father. I have lived this many years. Da, 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 da. That's weird. No, what
I
do you
know.
do?
I know. But see, I'm in context, right? Because if I'm
Yeah,
meeting you at my kid's game, it's
yeah,
already in context. It's already known. You probably already know my wife. We're active in the PTA. So
correct.
you already know. So all of that's in context. So when you ask, you're probably going to ask me what I do because you already know all of it.
Yeah,
So if when I'm at my fraternity meetings, I don't go as often as I should. I'm sure one of my brothers is going to see this say, he hasn't been there for a year, but I go sometimes and I always donate and I'm financial. But when you go there, they already know that they already know that. So they're asking other things. And I get questions all the time. So what do you think of the market and how it's going to rise? How can I buy? And can I get a brownstone for 200,000?
no, you can't.
You know. So I get that all the time and I love it. I'm that resource. I get people that call me to solve problems all the time. And this is the most important thing I can tell your audience is everything isn't about a financial transaction. Sometimes it's just helping somebody. So this is a perfect story. I had a dear fraternity brother of mine. He's older. He has his own family. He's doing his thing. His mother is living in a home, and the mother, she's older, and somebody's doing a development on the other side, and they seem to be encroaching on her property. And she's telling them, and they're dismissing her because she's older, and he didn't know what to do, and she didn't know what to do. So I went over there. I was like, no, and you can't allow that to stand. If you allow encroachment to last for too long, then I forget the term in class,
Yeah.
you just lose the land. So I was like, no, we're not doing this. And I hooked it up. We did our survey. We got our attorney. We wrote up the thing, and all we had to do was write some stuff, and everything was put back to normal. And they were so thrilled. This property is going to be handed down to her heirs. That's everything she's worked for in her life is this property handing it to her heirs. We can't have this guy dismissing her claim. And because of what I did for her, she was able to restore her claim. She got her property. She's whole. And all of that was done for no money. No money. The
Yeah.
guy sends me a bottle of whiskey. I don't even drink. I gave it to somebody else.
You gave it away to one of your clients.
I gave it as a
Bill's
gift to somebody else. I regifted it.
I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not drinking this. But the point is that if you go into that situation trying to figure out how I'm going to get paid, it's not going to work. But if you go into that situation and say, I
How I
need
can help.
help you, yes, you help this person. What's going to happen when she's ready to sell? Who she's going to call? When she has a daughter needs to sell, who they're going to call? The person that they trust, the person that they help.
Yeah.
That's what this business is about.
It pays back tenfold, always giving. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I don't know if you
I love Tony Robbins. Yeah.
Yes. He's always about giving. And he says, if you learn how to give, you will get a lot
Absolutely.
more back, even if it's not cash. You get back the feeling or the joy of doing it. It is so invaluable, especially in our business. Like we make good money. It's not about money a lot of times. People think that, oh, realtors, they're just money hungry people. It's about helping other people and seeing that smile on their face, the joy. And when they thank you for doing it for them and going through the whole process and talking to them and being a psychologist and a
Yeah,
contractor and what everything that you
right.
could possibly be in one person to help them get through that transaction.
Keep everybody calm in the transaction. I love Ryan Serhan. I've met him a couple of times, and
Nice.
he said that we need somebody in the transaction who's only loyal to the transaction. So obviously, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our client, the buyer or the seller, right?
Correct.
But they're always in Lockhorns, they're always about their interests. Somebody needs to be about the transaction, the North Star to get this thing done. So you're easing everybody and you're adjusting. Okay, what do we need to do to make this happen? Or we'll give you a credit here. We'll do that. Everybody, if you get everybody taught the North Star, that's how you are successful in transactions, as opposed to just being selfish and always being defensive and always, all right, fighting. Your client might be wrong in this situation, right? Doesn't mean we're not going to represent her. We're going to understand that she's wrong or that person or he's being pigheaded or whatever, and find a way to communicate to the other party where we understand that, but let's find a solution. So solution-based transactions all the time. And I live by that. Loyal to the transaction.
Correct. Correct. I love that. So such a diverse career. What keeps you motivated and continually inspired in this industry? And what's the plan? What's your legacy going to be?
You are asking the best. This is unbelievable. This is like everything I would ever want to communicate to somebody. This is it. One of the things that's really awesome that I'm starting to do now is to, to you and I talked about the how real estate is lifestyle, right? And I want a convergence of all the things that I love in the business. So, for instance, eventually I want to be able to, we're going to buy other brownstones that we're going to sell retail to the market. Right now, we buy and hold, right? So, say if we buy brownstone that we hope that we are going to bring retail to the market, we'll gut renovate it. So, the design and all of that kind of stuff that it's going to be unique to me and the product that we're going to produce is going to be great. We're going to do staging, which is super creative. So I work with a great staging company here in New York. I haven't been able to use them on the big projects yet, but we're working on that. So I want to do beautiful staging, do beautiful events at this property. In addition to the staging, I have a friend of mine that owns art galleries. So instead of generic art, we're gonna curate art, especially for local artists, to that property, right? So it'll be a pop-up gallery in my property, right? And then we're going to do these great social media events that allow people to create awesome content in the space. And then all of that activity will bring other referral partners for me, hopefully find us the best buyer for the property, and it'll support all of my creative friends. So all of that stuff comes in, and I'm still very active in the gallery market in New York City. I support them whenever I can. And so that's what I see. My legacy is how to streamline that process and bring business to all of my creative friends and be creative in the business.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. I have a disclaimer just so everybody knows commissions are and always will be negotiable. So we talked about that was specific deals. Okay. It's not
Right,
anything that is set in
right,
stone.
right.
Malcolm, thank you again for being on the show. This was an amazing experience. I think you're an amazing person. You do so much good for the people. We need more people like you around. I have charity. I have a 501(c)(3). I take care of kids in Africa. We're working locally, trying to figure out what we could do here in our town to help our kids over here. I'm big fans on education. You mentioned that as well. I think that the kids really need to get better education than we have in our public schools. More in the lines of financial education and being aware when they step out to the real world, what's actually going to hit them,
I dig all the because my son is in high school now and he does all of that stuff. But you're right. We need to have. Remember we had home ec. I don't know if you because I'm a
I
little
didn't I
older
didn't
than
go to
you.
school here, so I don't know about that stuff.
What home ec was, it taught you how to cook and about the home. It taught you life
Life
skills.
skills. Yeah.
And that's been phased out of the school. We need that back along with financial literacy, which is one of the missions. That's my number one mission. I have a partner that I'm working with, Financially Clean, Sean Linda. He's running this incredible organization where we're taking these disenfranchised kids and we're teaching them financial literacy, teaching them with liabilities and assets are. We're teaching them how you can buy these properties with 5% down and FHA mortgage and stuff like that. And one or two of I got a client out of there where we're going to be helping him buy a house from out of that experience. So you and I are on the same path. You create meaning. We're going to be successful. We're going to make our money. We're going to do our thing, but we need meaning. We need to take that success and parlay it into something that makes the country better, that makes society better.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for joining us on Sir Lancelot's Real Estate Roundtable, where we've unveiled the mysteries of real estate together. Remember, in this kingdom of possibilities, every dream home is just a discussion away. I can help your real estate dreams come true. Just call me at 786-449-7518. Until our next roundtable, may your ventures be prosperous and your homes be filled with love and joy. Farewell, fellow knights of real estate.